Andrea, welcome to the studio. In today's video, I want to talk to you about problem solving, composition, and color, and also kind of bringing you into my process of trying to work in a way that is consistent while simultaneously pushing myself out of my comfort zone. So there's a lot here about, that's part of my process, is I like to push past what I can naturally problem solve and then push myself into something that's a little bit harder. So I've been working, small scale on these little landscapes, and I've got this one here that's working. I have this one here that is doing what I want it to do, which is I want it to be semi-abstracted with a focus on color and texture. And then I scaled those, and I got, these to do what I want them to do, to be sort of recognizable, but mostly it's about color, texture, and unity in the color. I've been working on these. That one works with the other one, experimenting with glitter, and trying to just play with some ideas. So then, brings us to this one here, and it was old work, so I have a lot of opinions about starting with old work. I think you get better results when you start fresh, but lots of debate on that question. So this one started on an acrylic base, and I'm trying to build it up, but it's not working for me. And I've done it, so many experiments, and I've done so many things with it, but it's not doing this, and it's not doing that. And this one is close to being resolved and working, where it's that idea of semi-abstracted focus on color and texture. And this one, I just keep vacillating back and forth and back and forth, and I got myself into multiple pieces of trouble. The first one was when I wanted to push myself and be really creative, and I thought it would be a really cool idea to glue in some semi-precious beads. Bad idea. I did that, and they're all glued in down here, and I guess I hadn't thought it through well enough, but there was no light shining through the beads, so there was absolutely nothing happening except for this lumpy, horrible texture. So what I did mid, painting session is I took a screwdriver and I started, pounding the beads off to get them off. Anyway, I'm using it as as an exploration of problem solving. So, okay, so here I am, I'm with this, and the trouble that I'm having are the colors don't seem to work very well. This river seemed like it's a good idea, and I'm going to try to problem solve the color. So I'm working with just oil. I am using this solvent-free stuff by Gamblin, which is great. It really doesn't smell, and since I'm so sensitive, this seems to work well. I have got some Gamsol in a little tin can here so I can kind of clean my brushes. I started too boldly with the sky, and I started in with a sky, and it's a blue sky. And if I think about why are my other paintings, what's working with these, and to learn from the other things that I'm doing so I can do something that's consistent, none of them are going to have a blue sky because I want these to be fantasies. So I started with this blue sky, and all my problems started. And then I fell in love with the blue sky. So I think I'm going to have to change the sky. And I'm going to have to get into just loosening this up. I mean, this thing is so hard to resolve that it's creating a lot of tension. As much as I like the idea of this sort of stream, it's too distracting. So I'm going to come in with my R&M pigment sticks. And this is still wet, but I don't like the shape, I don't like where it's going, so I have to just be looser if I want this to have that sort of abstracted look. See, that's already much better. Oh my God, that almost resolves it. But it still looks like a landscape, and I want it to look like something that's more of a fantasy. The other struggle I was having is where am I going to put some value changes? I can lay some complementary colors on this. break it up a little bit. This is still not wet. There, that's adding a little bit of that poetry that I'm after. And then I'm not looking at a source image. I'm just trying to find my way by creating shapes. Yeah, I like that better. So I'm kind of reinventing the colors here and laying complementary colors on top of the colors that are here. So that's a purple. I'm filling with some yellow. Maybe this will work or maybe it won't. But what I did here, and this is my favorite painting, it came out really fast and it was very, very loose. So I keep this here as a reminder. With just a little bit of that blue popping through. That'll be a little better. Just lay that down. Does that work? This is such a perfect example of a challenge that you can get into. Is I fell in love with the sky and I was too bold at the outset, but I am determined to get this thing to work. So rather than these being trees, let it be these shapes. Because there's this pink here, then I should also find places for it to be here. I think the idea of these beads, it actually came from this little painting because I got this really interesting texture and I thought, wouldn't that be cool? But I think there are better ways to do that. Glitter is one of my favorite things to play with. All right. Still can't get this sky color to work. What if it's pink? Oh yeah, that's better. Much better. All right, pink it is. For oil painting, it has to go the sort of the lean over fat. And so now this is multiple layers of fat, fat on fat on fat. So it just becomes a little more challenging. To not have completely found your colors. Oh, there we go. I like that. I kind of like this idea of reverse color, where instead of having things that are kind of moving towards lighter and cooler and receding into the distance, that it is, we see the painting as one just big, pattern, effective pattern and color. Yeah, I think that's doing better now. now I've got this whole area here that's just got so much pink. The one thing that I'm doing in like traditional landscapey thing is I'm trying to get, well, I'm not really doing that. In my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have darker and, brighter down here by the, in this kind of foreground area. See if I can, so it doesn't just have a hard line that stops here. Because we're getting all this crazy weather here in Northern California and a lot of rain. So I'm trying to find all this water. Water everywhere, water coming from all over the place. After our years of drought, now we're getting just all over. Oh, yay, it's coming together. The only thing bugging me now is this over here, and also this line. Trying to get rid of this blue. Go away. Ugh. I'm almost using no solvent at all on these final layers. So either this becomes the final layer, or this is going to go and live somewhere all by itself. I'm going to make up a gray because that color, just whatever I do to it, just doesn't work. So I am I'm just going to create a gray with the colors that are already on my palette. I've got this sort of orangey, this is like veering yellow. I'm going to move this in here, then it starts to become a green. So I'm going to pull in the complement of green, which is pink. Red, but pink works. And just try to get to. That's still pretty pinky browny. I'm going to cool that off until little by little I get to a gray. But it actually reads pretty gray. That there's just too much going on down here. It's too much. Let's tone the whole thing down. Too much. Let's take it down a notch. And one way I like to take it down a notch is I mix a gray with everything that's on the palette, and I just it'll work with it because it's got everything else in it. move some of this. It's just too noisy. Bring it up over here. Oh. It's just too much blob of pink. I'm going to oh yeah, that's much better. I wanted this to be more abstract, more like this other work that I'm doing, and go from working and sort of getting confident with being wild and loose when it's a small piece, and to do that when it's a large piece is a different story. Hope you got something from watching this. I'll see you next time.